Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I am in a swap and I am making an autumn themed traveler's notebook. And I was at Michael's a while back and I saw this paper, and this is this pumpkin vines, and I love the colors. It's very non-traditional and I'm sure some of you guys have it, but I just love the blues and the oranges. And it's just very non-traditional, but very fall. I cut aparts. So I thought I would use this because I'm just loving this. I just love those colors. Those will be nice. And then they also had a solids pack to match. So I had to pick that up for sure. But look at that blue. Anyway, just some beautiful colors. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to make it out of. And I need to be a little different. I had some faux leather that I was thinking about using, but I couldn't find it. So I was thinking, what else could I use? And why not a file folder? I'm sure somebody's done this before. I just don't know. But my traveler's journal has to be 8 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I was thinking, and I'm going to have a little spine on it. So I was thinking just cut this down to 8 1/4, and instead of just cutting this off at 4 1/4, I'm going to fold these under and make pockets on the inside. And it's a little flimsy, I know, but when I cover it with probably a solid and then accent it with one of these pages, I think it'll be strong enough, be plenty strong enough. So let me cut this down and score this, and I'll be right back. Well, after scoring this, trimming it and scoring it, so I trimmed off the top to 8 1/4. And I went ahead and trimmed off the top with the tab. And I was just going to score these and then fold them in for pockets, but they're too long. So this is really up to you as to how deep you want your pockets. So I'm just going to trim a little bit off here. I'm really bad about not measuring. Let's trim a little bit off. I think that's good. And let's trim the other side off. This is a Fisker's Mac Daddy rotary cutter, and I absolutely love it. I think I'm going to make this one just a little more shallow. Let's see what that looks like. So here's your spine, and there's your pockets. And then it's going to fold like this. And then have your signatures. I went through and pulled some of the smaller designs, since this is a smaller book, and some coordinating solid color cardstock. And I'm really loving the blue, but then there's the orange. And then here's the same design, but in blue. I paired it with the light blue. And here's this one that's pretty fancy, and that would go with the light blue also. So I was sitting here looking and debating, and I'm going to use a cut apart or several cut aparts to go on the front. And I'm really liking the blues. There's a pop of orange. So I think I'm going to go with the pumpkins, with the blue, with these two right here. So what we're going to do is take this and cover it completely with the solid color, and then I'm going to make panels with this so you can see the blue on the back. And then I don't know Maybe we'll do a strip of something different for the pockets on the inside. But let's cover the outside and see how that looks. So this is what we have. The paper was not quite wide enough to cover the whole thing, which is fine. All this extra is going to add some stability to this kind of flimsy folder. So what I did was I used score tape because I didn't want any lines, glue lines or anything. So I used score tape and put it on either side of the fold lines and then in the middle. And then this overhang part, what I did was I cut little V's right here where it's going to fold. Just little V's in there. And so I'm going to glue this down like I did here on the end. This is going to add more stability too to it. And so on the end, what I'm going to do, since I have this extra part here, and this is going to be our pocket on the inside, I think what I'm going to do is cut a piece of this light blue and cover that, and then have this on top. So when you open it up, you're going to have this kapow, this beautiful gold and blue pattern paper. So it'll be a nice little surprise on the inside there. So let me finish gluing these down, and then I will cut the piece for this, glue that on, and like I said, all this will be covered also. And then we will cut our pattern paper for here and glue that on so it'll start taking some shape. All right. Okay, so I've cut my pieces for the ends. So what I did on this is I have score tape on one end, and I'll just line it up like I did here, just on this side of the fold line. Okay. And I folded these sides in and glued. And then this is going to go over the top, so it'll give it a nice edge. And what I did was just cut little V's here. So when you fold it over, and then fold this over, got a little piece there, fold that one over, okay? And so your pretty paper is actually going to cover those ends so you won't see them. And there's more stability for this folder. So let's get these attached to get the other side attached. Excuse me. So I have score tape here on this raw edge. And what I'm going to do is this solid paper with score tape on the end, I'm going to attach it right here just on this side of the fold line. Excuse me. Let's see. So a little trick I do, where'd it go, is this will give you an extra second in case you don't line it up just right. Just take a stick glue, it can be any glue that you have, and just do a little line over it. So that way, like I said, it'll give you another second to raise it up if you don't get it just where you want it. I use a lot of score tape because I make a lot of books, a lot of journals. So try to kind of even that up a little bit. Okay. And then I always like to burnish it really well. So these will be folded over. And like I said, I'll cut a little, excuse me, a little slit right here. Okay, and a little V right here. Do the same thing to this side. This has the score tape on it. Just fold it over. And I'll cut just right here. So it gives me that little flap. Excuse me. And then I'll cut a little V. Take that out. So then we'll work this paper. Depending on your paper, you may need to score it. Let's see what this is looking like. Yeah, it's a little not real crisp there. So let me get my scoreboard and we will score it so it'll have a nice edge. So just lay this down. And score just right, even with the folder. So that should give us a nice edge. And if this is trying to hang up there, which it is, we can cut a little bit off here. There we go. And let's add a drop of glue here. And this is art glitter glue. And it dries pretty fast, so have to be careful. Don't have much room for error with that glue. And let's see, let's fold this over gently. I'll go over it with my bone folder. And there, that gives us a nice edge. And then these will be folded over this way and glued. And if you have a little hangy right there, just snip that off. So we'll glue these corners down on both sides, the edge. Like I said, this is going to be our pocket here. And then I have the decorative paper cut out for the pockets and for the outside. Okay, so we have our end pieces glued down, and we have our pretty paper cut out. And so what I've done is I put score tape on either side, and this is my little trick to get excuse me, get it as even as possible. So we'll just start here at this end, and what I do is line it up where I want it. I've got a little mark there. Let's get rid of that. Okay, line it up exactly where you want it. And then hold it in place, and then I reach under, and hopefully, of course on camera it's not going to work. Take the backing off. Well, let me get it started. And that's usually what I do, is get it started. Alright, let's go back. Get it right where you want it. As even as possible. And then peel this off. This paper's a little slick. And hopefully it goes right where you want it. And you do the same thing on this side. This is the easy part. This comes off. And then I just burnish it down. And then we continue on. I hope everybody's having a great day. I believe it's turned winter in a lot of places. It sure has here in the Ozarks. But I'm liking it a lot better than the hot. Okay, oops, let me start this first. I'll have the same problem. Okay. It's becoming basketball season. My daughter's starting basketball. She's in 7th grade in junior high. So that's exciting. I'll be playing a lot of games. I think they start the 1st of November. Burnish that down. And then I have score tape on the other side. And that just goes down. And there's going to be our flap and then our front. So we'll finish with these two pieces and then we'll work on the inside. I'm loving this. We might put some embellishments, some of those cut-aparts here on the front too. Okay, I've got my inside pieces. So here's for the spine and the two inside, and then these are the, oops, those are going to be the pockets. So let's get these glued down and then the pockets glued down, and we'll start working on some decorations for the front and the signatures. Okay, so I have my cover finished. These were some of the cut-aparts, and I just matted them, put it on front, made a little pocket there, and I may double mat this to beef it up a little bit. And the end and the back. And the inside, I have paper clips on here just to hold it till it dries really well. This is the inside, and these are, of course, pockets. And then, for my signatures, I decided to go with a different color. So this bright orange. And then I'm going to mat them with this. And this. So I thought that would be a nice contrast for the middle. It's a little wild, but I like it. So I'm going to cut out the paper for my signatures, and we'll get those attached and get this attached and get it all put together, and we'll be done before you know it. All right, let's wrap this project up. I am going to go ahead and mat this with probably a dark blue paper so it doesn't look so puny in this big beautiful tuck spot here. And I went ahead, punched my holes, and I added one of the signatures. And here's my second signature. So it's just my orange, and then I matted it with these. And then I went with ivory paper because I think the white was a little too stark. So I measured, instead of using like the bungee cord, the stretchy, I'm going to use this twine, and I measured it twice around. So it'll just go through the holes twice and then tied in the middle, and then these can still come out. You can switch them out, make new ones, whatever you want to do. So we will add this one, and I think because this ended up being kind of thick with the paper, made it sturdy, which is great, but it's still new and it's not closing all the way. It's wanting to alligator mouth. So I may do some kind of little closure on it. Maybe some sari silk, or yeah, I think maybe some sari silk. I have some beautiful orange, and we'll see if that matches. But let's get this other signature in there and see what we have as far as the embellishments, the cut-aparts, and see if we can't make some cards out of those for our tuck spots. Hey y'all, we're back with the finished traveler's journal that's going to go all the way across the pond. And I told you it was a little thick, so I added some sari silk. It can be tied in a knot or with a bow. Let's open it up and take a quick look. So here's the front, and I did double mat this to beef it up a little bit. And then I had a gold pin that I went around the edges so it would match and spruce it up a little bit. So I kept it pretty simple. Excuse me. So here is a little pocket. And I had the same thing with this, with the gold pen, paint pen. So you can use that for journaling. You can use this for journaling. And I thought that gold just went perfect with it. And then here's one signature. Like I said, it's all for writing and note taking. And the second signature. So it's all simple. And then the back side, I had some paper left over where I had trimmed these down, and I thought I didn't want to throw them away. So I made little booklets out of them. So that's more writing space. And the same way with this one. So lots of room for writing. So this is it. And like I said, it's headed across the pond, and I hope she loves it. All right, until next time.